going on, people? Waffletop podcast, episode 26. One thing, obviously, that I've seen in the media today with myself here, Paulo, the biggest talker, and Donny.
Donny, come on.
So, basically, recently, to give you the backstory, the USA, specifically the USA women's team, have filed some sort of court thing in America to exercise equal pay for basically what the USA men's soccer team get and what the women's team get. So, without looking too much into it, I think that's specifically what USA soccer team pay the men, not their clubs. The soccer team, like man keeps saying soccer, but you know you have to say that because it's Americans. Fuck, they just say everything backwards.
I say soccer.
Soccer. It's football, bruv, but soccer. So
It's
the USA football team, yeah.
It's a soccer team.
Basically, yeah. So basically, come back and said they should be getting paid the same as men. Now, what's mad about this question is,
go on.
I have two angles to this, yeah. So one being that I don't agree with it because I don't think women's football at the moment generates the income. Even if you look at just America, because that's what they're looking at apparently. We're not basing it on European leagues. We're basing it on America. The MLS is quite huge now, isn't it? Men's MLS football.
Yeah.
So you've got like big men's football stars going over to play in the MLS, for example, which in turn is making football bigger in America, or soccer as they like to call it.
Soccer.
Yeah. So I think what they're saying is basically men should be women's team should be getting paid the same as the men's team. Now, the reason I disagree with this is because if you put USA women's team into a World Cup, yeah, the World Cup this year in 2018, I think generated their highest viewing, which was like 18.4 million in the final. Yeah, the final.
Yeah.
But the broken down overall fact of each game, how many people watched it, they had a massive attendance, to be fair. The 2018 Women's Cup, like each game had a big attendance, but I wouldn't say like the TV revenue was like fantastic for the group games, etc. It was only the final. And then I think, because even I watched it that year, I watched the final. I think England lost, didn't it?
I can't remember. Did they play? Is England the final?
2019 or 2018.
Was it England? Is it England the final though?
England, USA.
Yeah, USA won 2. I can't remember.
Bro, I can't remember. Euros or no, World Cup. Obviously, not Euros.
Yeah,
or was it World Cup or that other cup they made up? Anyway, regardless. Anyway, sorry, I'm going on. So basically, yeah, back to my point. Like, if you put then USA played in the World Cup, say USA played in, I can't remember the last World Cup they're playing because I'm so shit.
Go on.
But, all right, for example, they played in the World Cup not long ago, yeah?
Yeah, go on.
So, any World Cup from men's football from 2000s and up, yeah, the income that they generate quadruples. I'm talking from group stage to final, overall viewings, not even just viewings, but how many people are interested. Obviously, men's quadruples women, yeah? Hear what I'm saying? So this is the first point.
Go on.
What I think is, I don't think they're in a position to say that when women's football doesn't have that same attraction that men's does. I'm not saying they don't deserve down the line to get paid for it, but when they do the numbers that men's football does, then they can start saying we deserve to get paid the same. Do you get what I'm saying? It's like going into a job. It's like going into a job. You get paid 35k. You do mad work, yeah. And I want 35k, but I'm only willing to do half the work at the moment. But maybe down the line, I'll be able to do that.
That's not the same. That's not the same though. That's not the same.
No, hang on, let me finish. So you're on 35k. You're on 35k.
What the
You've
man
been
or
there.
the woman was 35k?
No, what?
Exactly.
Hang on.
Go
Right.
on.
Let's compare it to football as close as possible. Yeah. Obviously, men's football revenue is mad high. We know
that. Go on.
So in this specific, the men's football earn 35k a year in this office. Yeah.
Go on.
The women's football come in now.
Yeah.
And this men's football, the revenue of football has been high since the 70s, 60s. Yeah?
Go on. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Go
Now,
on.
women's football coming in, which has only been big in the last, I'd probably say 20 years, 10 years, been
Go
big.
on.
Yeah?
Yeah, go on. Yeah.
They want to start the job on 35k because they feel like they need to get paid the same as a player that's been there for 40, 50 years.
All right. Listen, I hear what you're saying. I get that's a good value. That's a good point. I like you talking about. That's a good point. But what I'm saying is this: yeah, you can't football back in the day, 50s, 60s, 70s, whatever. It wasn't a woman's thing. It was a
Bro,
man's thing.
that's
No,
my
no,
point.
no. But I'm saying it was a woman's thing. It wasn't a woman's thing. It was a man's thing. Innit? I get what you're saying in it.
Yeah.
But,
No, I'm not saying that. Whoa.
No. The 50s, no. The 60s, 70s. It was men was playing football. There was no women playing football.
Yeah.
I'm saying, so that's what I'm saying. Like, don't try. That's what I'm saying. There was no women playing football at the time, innit? But football for women now is so global and big. It is big.
Yeah, 100%.
It is big.
And does it bring in the same figures that men's football does?
It doesn't bring in the same revenue as men's football. But at the same time, I still think women should get paid the same. Why not? What's the problem? What, because they're not playing for Barcelona or
cool.
Real Madrid, they can't get the same money?
Question. Where does this money come from to pay the players?
I don't know. You tell me, bro. Where
does the money come from to pay men's football players?
What, the chairman and the chairman, innit?
All right, and where do the chairman revenue, their income comes from?
Do I don't know. You tell me, blood.
Viewings, TV viewings, shirt sales. How many people are buying a pool? Name me who's that USA captain? What's her name?
I can't remember her name. She's popular. Yes,
That's the one that's gone to court at the moment. Now, hear what I'm saying, because I have 2 points. I'm not against it, but hear what I'm saying. I'm doing it from a neutral view to see what. So, the men's football.
Because
okay. Right. So, revenue for a club, 90% of it, 90% of it probably comes from men's football. So even if Chelsea have a Chelsea ladies, Chelsea's man. Yeah, I actually spoke to somebody not long ago who was a Chelsea fan. Do you work with actually? So she's a Chelsea fan. I had a really interesting conversation with her about women's football. And I told her like my mixed opinion. So I said, at a point, it will get to a point where women can earn the same as men. But for it to get there, the gap between the interest has to be the same. I'm not saying they don't deserve it, but for the interest has to come from the fans. So the fans have to do their bit. So maybe where you're watching X amount of games, or you go and pay for a season ticket, if 10,000 people paid for a season ticket for women's football games and went and watched the games, that's where eventually the money will come from. If you're doing that regularly and then you're getting people to buy tickets for the games, then they can fill the stadiums. At that point, women will get the same pay as men because there is a genuine interest or generated interest in a sport. It's like if you started a sport today, and you turned around, and I'm not saying it's the same, but I'm saying if you started a sport, and you started playing rugby, for instance, so you're playing rugby, top player in England in rugby, I don't know what they earn, but they don't earn a lot, but they earn decent amount for rugby players. I don't think it's nowhere near what footballers earn, but
go on.
And then you've come in, you're playing 2 leagues below, but you're turning around and saying, why am I not getting paid similar to him? So you get called up for England now, but you play at club level for a really low club. Why am I not being paid the same wage as him? Because then you open it up to another debate where it's what players are then obviously kicking off. You can get men's players that kick off and say, why is Foden not getting paid the same amount as Aguero? We both play for City. Why can't we have equal pay? It opens a big tin of worms, bro. When you want to start opening that, everyone's going to start using that. And hear what I'm saying here. Men's football can do it. Men's football can do it. I'm going a bit off here. But men's football can do it because they generate a revenue. Bro, let's be honest, how many women's football games do you watch a year? League?
Huh?
How many league games? How many league games do you watch? Well, I'll be honest with you. I could probably count on what, right, and maybe because not enough of them are televised, because I don't think a lot of them are televised. If they're on telly, I'll watch them. I will. You come to my yard before, we sat there and watched the game.
Yeah.
So like, I have no problem, and I've seen some good women's football teams. Yeah. The other point that I have is there's also some shit women's football teams, but you can get that with men's football as well. You can get shit men's teams. You can get good men's teams. I'm not discriminating because they're women. That I said this to the girl we work with. I said to her, like, have you ever sat there and watched a women's football game and thought that player is mad shit? You can say that. I could say that if I watched them. If I watched a team of women who can't do throw-ins or kick a ball, like they're shit. But there's also some good women's teams that can do that. The problem is we're going massively off. But to get the pay rise or to get the same amount as men, bruv, realistically, business. If you look at it from a business angle, women's football has to be generating the same revenue as men's to get men's salaries the same as women's. It's facts. Bro, Paul Pogba, when he joined United, his transfer was 100 million, United, in a week, made that money back selling his name off shirts. If you bought a women's football player for 50 million, how much of that money could you claw back? Now, I'm just talking, I'm not talking in 10 years, because women's football might be big in 10 years. I hope it is, because I've watched a really good women's team. But I'm saying, if you buy a women's football shirt now, and you pay, and you're a club member, so you're a chairman of a club, you've paid 5.3 million for this lady to come from Valencia to come and play in the women's ladies English Prem. How are you going to make your revenue back off her? This is what I'm saying to you. It's very easy to say women should get paid the same as men. I'm all for it. I'm not against it. I've watched women's football. I've actually had more of an interest in it in the last couple of years. But then, because of the spark and fuse that has caused everything, I actually sat down and started watching it, and some of it's really good. No, not every game I watch is great quality, but I watch some games, and there's some ballers. There are ballers, like, seriously. You get your fair share of like shit players as well. But that's like men's football. Men have shit players, good players.
But then it's that again. I get where you're coming from with that. It's mad. But then, oh shit, I don't even know. Because even with tennis, prime example, tennis, women want same pay as men, but men play more matches than women. Why is that?
But certain women in tennis get paid similar amounts, i.e. Serena Williams and the big tennis players get paid good money, no?
But then they play less matches than the men.
They play less?
Yeah.
But is there a large pool of women to come through that are ranked? Because you have to be a certain rank. All right, with Wimbledon, you've got to be a certain rank to play in it. You can't be like you get like a wild card. You could, like, they've had it before.
Yeah.
A couple of wild cards, but not like for players have to be ranked. Most players have to be ranked to a certain for the quality to be good. Yeah.
Yeah. 100. Yeah, 100.
But a lot of women play tennis professionally, so there are a lot of women.
No, it's true.
To be honest with you, I don't know why they don't play the same amount of games as men. I don't. But then you can look at the other half and see that obviously tennis do mixed doubles, so women and men play together as well.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, true. So, true.
You know, that sport is very friendly in terms of, obviously, I don't know the ins and outs of what they get paid, but I would like to think that, say, Serena, Venus, Williams, Sharapova, them sort of tennis players who are big, won world tours and all that sort of thing, are probably on the same salaries as men's players who've won world tours, because I think most of them, they get more money from their sponsor. I don't think the prizes are actually...
Really and truly, what they sponsor, what they're wearing.
And you know what's good about Wimbledon? I don't know about the other different tours. Only the Wimbledon one is they put up the prize money on the screen for everyone to see. So before a tournament, you know how much you're getting for winning that tournament before you enter it. So like you're joining a tournament and say the prize money is $250,000. I think it's much more than that, but it's just an example.
Yeah.
The women's singles will be the same. Obviously, women's doubles and men's doubles get paid lower because it's that, in my opinion, regardless of if it's men or women playing, doubles is shit. I don't like watch doubles, bro. There's no tech behind it, bro. Like not like singles. Singles is the real deal. But
Yeah.
man, or what women's, men's, like they're all sick.
Yeah. It's
Do you
true.
know what I'm saying? And yeah, so I think tennis is very different. I think, but then that's been the problem is that's been instilled. That's a sport where they've brought it up together, if that makes sense. Whereas obviously football's been taking the lead from the 60s, 70s.
Yeah, it's true. Tennis has been back in the day from both.
Before
Yeah.
60s, you've got to remember 1900s. Them
Yeah.
times there, men
Yeah.
have been playing football, and then in the last 30 years, 20, 30 years, I don't know exactly, but women obviously start playing football as well.
Mm-hmm.
But they're just like, I just think that until it gets to a point where they can generate the income that men's football teams, example Premier League, which is a really rich league, for example, if the women's English Prem can generate what the men's Prem generate, through viewing, shirt sales, selling stadiums out week in and week out, not just finals, week in and week out, or nearly not selling stadium, obviously flat, solid like full, but just nearly doing the full capacity, which most of the time they do in the Prem. There's very rarely any seats left unless they're protesting or some shit. But yeah, until women do that, I just think we're not going to see a pay. And I'm just being honest. Like, but at the same time, I'm not sitting here saying that women don't deserve to get paid one day the same as men. And I would like to see it, but we'll only see it
like close, at least close, because it's not even close, bro.
Yeah, bro, imagine, you say close, but football's getting ridiculous now. The interest in football, the gap is only going to get bigger unless people get into the women's football. So, bro, at the end of the day, for example, the most expensive paid player in the world is on 600k a week. Well, I think it's Messi, or 500k. It's Messi, innit? Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
Messi's the most paid player in the world. And then you look at even like an average player who's playing in Juventus, Aaron Ramsey, who's on 380k a week. And at Arsenal, he was on 180k a week. And then but then women's football won't ever get that. And I think their pay structure is different. And I think they get paid monthly. Don't get me wrong. The point that I wanted to bring up was, do I think that they can improve the training facilities and the pitches they play on? Yes. That isn't going to affect the club so much. The thing that I saw a lot was women's football teams, and I was talking to this person you work with who's a massive football fan. She used to play academies and stuff.
Yeah.
And she was saying, like, she went and watched one of the games, Chelsea games, and the pitch was cut up and shit. Like, I think that's wrong. But then I think that's down to the clubs to be making sure that if you've got a ladies' academy, to give them the most professional environment to play in, so that when it comes to games, their sport, they can be the best at what they can be. Because women's football is still at a complicated, for me, start. They've come a long way. Even seeing like the women's football presenters doing like jumping in on the male games now, it's really good.
I like that's a good look still, and there's more
really good.
women referees and linesmen as well,
and they're knowledgeable as well. Some of them are really knowledgeable that I've seen on TV. So yeah, it's really good. But yeah, I think they need to give the professional environment to all the players. Obviously, I think if you look outside of the English Prem, for instance, I'll give you an example. I coach in it, so I coach kids who are 14. I was down at Merchant Taylors, which is in Northwood. It's a private school. That's where the team I coach played a home game.
Yeah.
And we finished our game, packed up, obviously sent all the kids home, blah, blah, blah. And I'll stay and watch a couple of the football games. QPR ladies come to play in it. So I thought, let me watch this. Let me see what he's saying. I can't remember who they were playing. They were just playing at Merchant Taylors because it's a private school, innit?
Yeah.
But, bro, that pitch that they were playing on, bro, like the Sunday League Northwood under 16s or 17s were playing on that pitch before them. Like, so QPR ladies, where you're looking at a championship team, I don't know where they are in terms of the women's league.
Yeah.
I don't think it was their first team, it was their reserves.
Yeah.
They weren't playing in a great environment, and that's QPR, bro. Like, you've got to look at it like QPR are a rich club. So really and truly, they should be playing in a stadium. Like, obviously, I get it's not possible for all clubs to fund a women's team that can have the same privileges as men, especially in the lower leagues when the men's football is the reason that the club's income is there and they can just about keep the men's afloat. Some can't afford to run both. But the clubs that can, Manchester City's, Chelsea's, most Prem clubs, Championship, arguably League One. You could say they should be giving players better environments, I think. Because I don't think women's football, like, if you've seen it before, have you ever seen, like, women's academies training, like, the most random places?
I see West Ham ones.
Where were they training?
I can't tell you where, but it just looked random to me, to be fair.
Like
but the ground, it didn't look great. It was okay, but it could have been better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But then if you saw men's people training on the pitch, you probably see
the academy is decent. Some men's academies are decent. They're decent, literally.
But that's what I'm saying to you. Obviously, in that sense, it doesn't hurt for the clubs to let the women use the same, which I'm sure a lot of clubs do that, but there are some that don't, and some that don't look after the women's pitches like the men's. I've heard plenty of stories about how, you know, certain things with the club being, i.e. kit, or that thing can be an issue, and this sort of thing. And it's just like, give them the professional environment, and maybe then we will see the pay gap increase. That's my other angle. You know, again, I'm a neutral on this because I think I see both sides of it.
That's it's true. It should be equal rights, man. At least, man. Like, might as well, but the women work twice as hard and do what same what men do.
1 second, bro.
You know what I mean? So blood, I ain't recorded it and you got your boxes. What? Why you alright, blood?
What are you talking about?
Bro, you couldn't wrap up yourself before you opened stand up, Roger.
What are you talking about?
Bro, close this thing, bro. I don't want to see
it.
I've
got shorts on, fam.
Whatever, bro, man. I don't want to see your legs, bro. Get out of here, man.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, look, my cat making all sorts of noise. I'm jumping the podcast. But yeah, bro. Yeah, to be honest with you, I think that's what we can touch on that. I think, like, what concludes it is at the moment, no, they're not. Like, they're never going to get what men get. Let's be real. Right now, they're not getting it.
Not now. Probably 5, 6, 7, 5 years.
I said, if everything goes smoothly and the right money is invested in the right places for women's football to grow, you'll see that gap close. Will they get the same as men in 8 years? No, because then men's football could get even bigger and players could get paid more.
Yeah, it's true.
Has it gone too far? That's the question you want to ask now. Has it gone too far for women to catch?
I don't know. You know. I think it has. Women, I don't think they get paid. They don't get paid exactly the same, but they want to be up there with the money in it. I don't think it'll be exactly the same. It is gone very far. The gap is massive. But they want to be paid, not pence, but they want to be paid up there. Not exactly the same. I don't think they'll get exactly the same amount because, like you said, men's money grows every time, and it's only going to get bigger, and the gap's going to get bigger. So they want to be close enough for the men's money in it, but no one is giving off 400k a week or 300k. It's going to be hard. So
but shout out to all the women's footballers that are grinding, though.
Come on, bro. They're doing their thing, bro.
Doing their thing. And like I said to you, I don't disagree that you should get more money. I'm just saying right now, I don't think
it's going to be hard.
It's possible for a club to do it. But I really hope in the next 10 years, women's football gets bigger. Even myself, I've started watching more women's games.
100.
Some of them are decent, you know. And I say some of them because there's some teams that don't have a lot of great players. But again, people are learning, and, you know, I'm not there to shame players as such, but you know, some, like men's football, you're going to get some teams that are terrible.
No, it's true. It's true.
You know what I'm saying? But tell us what you think in the comments. Like, share, and subscribe down there. But yeah, Waffletop PC for Instagram. And then you've got SoundCloud and Spotify, Waffletop Podcast. YouTube.
All our
Waffletop Podcast. Yeah, and Make sure you like, share, and subscribe, you bastards.
Yeah.
To myself, Paulo, the biggest talker.
Donny Darko in the building.
Yeah. All right, man. Episode 26.
Yeah, out.